Work stress isn't always mental illness. Much of it is moral distress, policy versus conscience. When we medicalize it, we lose people. Here's a nurse-led path that fixes context, protects licenses, and gets professionals safely back to work. So who is nurse-led for? It's for career professionals, Black career women, nurses facing workplace conflict, harassment, discrimination, or fear-driven silence. If you find yourself in any one of those categories, then listen up, because this work and these offers may be for you. Let me introduce you to Glennae's 6-step nurse recovery system. The first step is root cause assessment, where we identify the actual driver that's causing you to feel and produce symptoms that lead you into the psychiatric industry, on the couch, in your employees' assistant programs, going to wellness programs, going to church, and not getting the resolution that you were hoping. In our root cause assessment, we identify the actual driver. Is it a policy friction? Is it assignment risk? Is it retaliation fear? Is it an equity gap? So like I said, not just the symptoms, but the actual driver. What is the stressor that is stressing you out, so that we can confront and address that challenge where you are, so that you can have a good understanding of what your next steps are. And then we have the differential nurse diagnosis, where we separate moral distress from burnout, fatigue, or primary mental illness, so care is routed correctly. And then the third step is health outcome alignment, where we define what safe, ethical practice looks like for this person and the unit that this person is on, patients, license, and conscience. And then we have the SMART recovery planning. It builds concrete, time-bound plans with short-term accommodations. Maybe you need an assignment shift. Maybe you need to consult your employee handbook. Maybe you need to talk to an employment attorney. Who knows what you need, until you sit down and look at what is the problem that is causing you to have sleepless nights, go to the doctor with workplace drivers that are not actually mental illnesses, so that we can correct the solution, save the employee from career burnout, so that you remain uninjured by taking medication without having any disease at all. Because taking medication without the presence of disease causes disease. So you don't want to do that. And if the issue is a workplace, then chances are it's not mental illness. Then you need to have a nurse-led solution to help you address the situation that you are facing, so that you overcome it and remain employable, healthy, whole, and accountable for your health. After the SMART recovery planning, then we do targeted burnout and equity intervention. We remove specific hazards that applies to your situation. Okay, we work directly with the employee. Strategic integration phase, which is our 6th step. For you to return to work, make sure all your checkpoints are there and guardrails, so that conflict doesn't rebound. I have had a few nurses come to me after their FMLA was up. The mental health nurse practitioner or their psychiatrist tried them on several different mental health medications, antidepressants, anti-anxieties, and it left them in a brain fog And so they got to work and they were asking for an accommodation for their work. And so this is where it gets really sticky, because how do you accommodate a depression when your very job is to think, is to perform? One nurse was like, oh, her families are always, complaining about her because she feels like she's completely disconnected. But that's the numbness of the antidepressants, it's not really allowing her to engage properly in her environment. She's just really focusing on task. And so sometimes the nurse is not actually ready to go back to work after the 12 weeks, but they go back because, the short-term disability is up. We can help you increase faith in these areas so that you take the time that you need to return to work without ever having to use any medication that can potentially derail you in the first place. So I'm going to give you 5 reasons, 3 to 5 reasons, maybe 5. We'll see. I don't want to make the video too long. Why nurse-led is better than psych for work-related moral distress. The number 1 is that it treats the driver, not the reaction. Okay? Number 2 is that it's faster stabilization, fewer lost days. Whether you're a client or whether you're a student or even friends who contact me, they walk away with clarity and understanding that makes them just feel better about their decision and about what's happening. So I encourage you to do the same, especially when you're dealing with issues in the workplace and it has a faith component to it, and you're facing moral distress issues, maybe fearful of retaliation, thinking about filing claims of discrimination or harassments, charges, and it's just really making you sick, emotionally sick. It's a moral distress, and it's causing physical and mental symptoms that are diagnosable. However, it may not be because of a disease process. And so we want to make sure that you have nurse-led information to make the best decision so that you don't get misdiagnosed and treated as if you have a mental illness when you actually have a workplace issue. So that was number 2. Number 3 is license. Why nurse-led is better than psych for work-related moral distress. License and soul protection. I don't know if you know this, but the workplace is the dichotomy between good and evil. And I know the churches are not talking to any person, any of the people in the congregation. I know no one is talking about this because this is my story. This is something that I endured. This is something that I overcome, and I've come back to be able to share this information with you to let you know how to walk in faith at work, how to trust God at work, what the process is, and to help point you in the right direction so that you do not fall victim to America's public health crises of premature death, disease, poverty, mental illness, and suicide. So you want to make sure that you have all the information and all the knowledge and all the understanding you need when you are dealing with issues in the workplace. And this is not even in my notes, but what I want to say is there's a thing called, and I'm not an attorney, nor do I play one on TV, but there's this thing called at-will employment. And for some reason, people think at-will means you can quit at any time, right? Or you can be fired at any time. However, if you have an awareness of an issue that is taking place at work and it is impacting your life, it's taking you away from the things that you used to enjoy, and is ruminating in your thoughts and keeping you up at night, then that is a situation that you are called to handle. Fear and being cowardice is not a solution. Taking medication to cope with it is not a solution. Your best and most effective solution will be for you to confront that situation head on and move past it. Because it's only a test of faith. I'm talking to my Christians and I'm talking to anyone who may not know the Lord. This is a test of faith. Okay? God wants to know, will you choose him above all else that seemingly is on the line for you to lose? So don't miss this open book test, okay? This is an open book test and it is only a test of faith. And I stand at the pathway for you to walk the narrow gate, because wide is the way for destruction. And I don't want you to miss the narrow gate. So number 4 of 5 reasons why nurse-led is better than psych for work-related moral distress issues that involve workplace discrimination, harassment, whatever the case is, that you weren't mentally ill before, but like you feel like all roads is leading to, mental health services, then I think that you should owe yourself a checkpoint before you enter, so that you know what you are up against and you are equipped with the tools that you're supposed to have. Yes. And like I said, because you're not mentally ill, going into the mental health industry and using time with psychiatrists, you're eating up, sacred psych capacities for primary mental illness. Like, there are people out there with real mental illnesses who need your spot, and what you need is knowledge, understanding, support, and access to understanding what your rights are, so that you can pursue them and be accountable for the outcome of them. Number 5, why nurse-led is better than psych for work-related moral distress issues. Lower cost, clear outcomes. One intake, documented plan, a return to work checkpoints. For the organization, it's less travelers, less spend, better retention, measurable safety gains. For the individual nurse, if you do not have to wait on your employer to hire a nurse, coach, or consultancy to help you with career building issues that you may be facing that could potentially leave you without a license to practice. This is available for you to come in, and unlike traditional mental health care that you use your insurance card for, where your employer actually has access to the information that they talk about, because they are the owner of the policy, right? What you divulge here is not available for your employer to access to build cases against you, okay? So there is a cost for you, and we do have 4 tiers available. I feel like it's a nominal cost compared to everything that so many people lose when they are dealing with workplace issues, how much time that is wasted, and also, you can get money back, you can't get back time. And I strongly believe that employees should be investing in their own growth, and, their own personal and professional development, because when you go to the industries, when you use your health insurance, when you go to the doctor, those are all your employer's allies. You need your own ally. You need someone that is going to stand in your corner and help you stand by the truth. And so in that way, it's a lower cost. It's not lower for you to just have to pay a copay. But in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, it is a lower cost. It is shorter, clearer outcomes for you, to return to work and to get over your situation and enjoy the rest of your life. Leaders, I'd like for you, if you are bold enough and interested in changing the trajectory of your hospital burnout rate, hospital turnover rate, then call and book a free 15-minute discovery call to implement this pathway this quarter. Don't wait for another nurse to leave, to commit suicide, to increase morbidity and mortality in your hospital because they're suffering from moral distress and may be injured from medications or trying to adjust to taking medications that may not be the right fit for them, leading them to moral injury and career burnout. If you're someone who's just watching this and you believe in the work that I am doing and want to be able to help more nurses, more Black career women understand how to exercise their workplace rights and not fall victim to America's public health crises of premature death, disease, and poverty because of fear of retaliation or because of profit before people, help me to reach them by considering a small donation to my nonprofit, G.E. Davis Incorporated, so that we can scale Operation Mental Health, which is our podcast, and our Brave Circle, which is our free weekly support group, so that we can help implement nurse-led intake and return to work coaching for our most valuable, needed, and trusted occupation. We want you to pivot, we want you to profit, and we want you to live in the promise of Christ. Remember, nurses put the care back in career. Until next time, be well.